Welcome in, guys. Today is another short Helldivers video. Let me just have the game running in the background. It's about the patch they just dropped, which is pretty much pretty kind of big in terms of the crash fixes, in my opinion. The gameplay elements, they're more of like, I guess, balancing related. Some people had some problems with it. I will say, like, on the ones where you have to thin the terminated numbers, on like the last 3 difficulties, bro, like every second there's a Bile Titan spawning, like, which, I mean, it is supposed to be crazy like that. But anyways, let's just get right into it. So the first thing is in terms of balancing with the enemies. Here, let me put it up on screen so y'all can also read it. Alright, so the first thing is the amount of heavily armored targets that spawn on a higher difficulty. Difficulties, especially for Terminids, have been a big discussion point online and internally. The intent is for groups to have to bring some form of anti-tank capability, but not to the degree previously needed. So that just tells me it's like they either are making just assuming, I'm sure maybe they'll probably talk more into it, but they're either going to make the Bile Titans easier to kill or less of them, so it's not like everybody needs to have some like heavy shit, you know. So the next thing is to that end, we have reduced the spawn rate. Okay, so they did reduce the spawn rates of chargers, vials on difficulty 7, and in addition, we have reduced the risk of spawn spikes of chargers and Bile Titans. Okay, so that's interesting. So that's literally just what I was talking about. Alright, boys, what is the next thing? Please note that we have changed the distribution. Hold on. Alright. It says, please note we have changed the distribution of enemy types, not reduced difficulty. Expect other enemy types to appear in greater numbers instead. So it's just a balancing thing. So they took down the amount of Bile Titans that would appear, the spikes of Bile Titans and chargers. And in turn, they're just going to keep the same chaotic amount of things on the map, but it's just going to be the smaller, easier to kill stuff, kind of. Or that probably could include the stalkers, the ones that hop around that can cloak themselves. We are humbled by the community's ability to find these things like charger leg meta in our game. However, spending your heavy anti-tank rounds on legs instead of obvious weak points seems counter to expectation, which is a fair point. I mean, because when you put the weak points in that are like the fastest way to kill them, you think everybody's gonna want to do that. But then people, you know, they find some ways to get it done better, or in their terms, more efficient, I guess. So the next thing is we are not changing anything regarding to the charger's legs. We are, however, lowering the health of charger's head. It should now be at a point where a well-placed shot from a recoilless rifle or EAT 17 instantly kills a charger. So that's nice, because I use the recoilless M3, and that thing, like, it takes like 3 headshots, but it's apparently now it's like one well-placed one, which makes sense, like probably like right in the fucking mouth or something. It's like the only like soft tissue area it looks like on that thing's face. Should do it in one shot probably. Well, they said one well-placed shot. Together with the unfortunate undocumented change of the last patch that has increased armor penetration ability of less well-placed shots from the EAT 17s and recoilless rifle shot, chargers should now be easier to handle by well-equipped groups. So that's good. So it's like some of these are kind of needed changes, in my opinion. The Bile Titan thing wasn't getting as bad because I would always bring like 500 pound, and I have the upgrade, so I have like 2 500 pounds per eagle. But alright, let's get into the next thing. Alright, so the next big gameplay change or fix is the electronic countermeasures operation modifier, which had a chance of giving you a random strategy instead of the one you put in. Has been removed in order to be reworked and will be reintroduced in a future iteration. We find that this modifier wasn't communicated clearly enough, and overall caused more frustration than excitement with the way it was currently implemented. This change was made in the 1.0 patch, or 1.1, but was unintentionally omitted from the patches. So I never personally had that one where it gave you a random one, so I never really I can't really speak on this, like if it was frustrating. I do see how when you're putting these particular ones in, equipping yourself for a particular situation and playstyle, getting something that you don't want or didn't need, could be very frustrating, especially when you're running the higher difficulties, because like every stratagem counts, especially when you're like tuning it to a certain play style. So I could definitely see why this is something that they decided to remove. All right, now boys, time for the fixes. Fixed missing text on several HUD and UI elements. Fixed several subtitle/VO mismatches in the news videos. Fixed various crashes that occurred mid-gameplay and when deploying to mission. Okay, so this is a big one for me, because after the patch before this one, it was cool and all. Like, I get there's hiccups, but like multiple times, like I think I uploaded a short of it, like in the drop shooting out of the ship in the helipod, we'd get stuck just sitting there looking at the fucking thing falling, and I had to close my game like 2 or 3 times from it. There's only been one time where it didn't even do it for that long, but it was taking way longer than usual, and it was just sitting there, and I was about to close the game, and then it actually dropped us in. And then crashes, I've been having big issues with that, like just randomly my like game just saying an error occurred. Like, that's happened multiple times. Like I said, the glitch about dropping in. Sometimes after the mission was finished, on the loading screen where it shows you your stats, you know, like your rounds fired, stratagem used, all that, kills, all that, I wouldn't even get to see it. Like, the screen would gray out and be all blurry, like with the pop-up with the 4 like player cards, and I'd be stuck like that. The only way for, like, it wasn't a game ending glitch, but I couldn't do anything, move, like upgrade, use any of the shit, the samples I gathered, you know, like make upgrades to my playstyle. They would have to start the next mission in the operation, and then they'd go to the helipod and it would start that timer that would force you, and that would be the only way to pull me out of that. So that one was another one that was a bit annoying. But let's get on to the next thing. Known issues. Okay, so this is stuff that they're probably still working on or haven't quite been able to fix. Game crashes when attempting to use stim while inside exosuit. I can't speak on that. I didn't even think you could, so whenever I needed to use mine, I'd try to clear out a spot, hop out, stab myself up with the juice, and then hop back in it. So now that I'm not going to do that, now that I know that that couldn't be the result. Pink artifact may appear in sky when setting off large explosions. That one I've never experienced either. The automaton dropship seemingly disappears and slides in after being shot down. Another issue that I haven't had any experience with. Shots from the arc-based weapons may not count towards kills in post-mission strats. Another issue, I don't use any of the arc stuff. Players cannot unfriend other players befriended via friend code. That issue's been before the other patch too, and then they patched and they said it was still a known issue, so that they still can't quite figure out. Another one is the cross-platform friend invites may not show up in the friends request tab. That is another one that's still been there. Players may be unable to select loadout or return the ship when joining a multiplayer session via PS5 activity card. See, that's so crazy, activity card, about joining people's games, because I would use that for information, but I never once wanted to try to join off of it, because I'd always be like, oh, it'd say like so and so is also playing this in a game, the same game, like in a match, and I would literally just go into the game and go to them on my friends list if I wanted to play with them. But that still is having some issues being worked. The exosuit can destroy itself with rockets. Yes, this I've experienced multiple times. The first few times I had no fucking idea what was going on. Like, it'd be turning and firing it off, and I'd blow up. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? So many times until I realized that it's when I'm turning, because I was firing a rocket far away at like a long shot, and I was like turning a little bit, and I fired it, and I realized it instantly. The second I fired it, the whole thing blew up. So it had something to do with the rocket. Text chat box display is obstructed by cinematic letterboxing during extraction. I didn't really necessarily have any issues with that, but I will say another thing that I don't see listed here is extraction glitches. I've been running into a lot of those more recently. Like, the thing will land, and it's like, the more recent one is nobody could get in it. Like, we all, like, were trying to go in, and, like, we literally could dive into the back where the seats are and be standing in there. And I was trying to, like, because I got the 2 other people to come with me, so there's 3 of us, to leave the, drop site, or the extraction site. But the other guy just wouldn't leave the area. So, like, because if everybody leaves a good distance, it'll fly back up in the air and wait for you guys to come back. But, so we didn't complete the mission. None of us extracted. We completed it, but none of us extracted. But that's another one. sometimes it's only certain people can't get in it, or like when you're trying to go up the ramp, you get caught like in like an invisible like box, and you get like you have to like dive out. And a couple times like I couldn't even get out of it. I had to like keep spamming the dive till it broke me free. But thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. I just wanted to make a little video on this patch for Helldivers. Kind of a much needed one. I definitely would have liked to have seen a bit more like bug fixes rather than the balancing, because I don't care if the game's like, if you can't really even play the game consistently, what's it matter if it's balanced, you know what I mean? But that's just my opinion, guys. I appreciate it. If y'all have any opinions or anything maybe that you think I didn't cover or you think I should cover, just let me know. I appreciate y'all watching.